Hi Stampers, it's Christine from Christine's Stamping Spot. Happy February. February 1st today, hard to imagine. Today I have a really fun interactive card that I want to share with you. I saw this idea by a European demonstrator called Astrid Verny, sometime before Christmas. And I always thought, okay, I'm going to try it. And it uses this Whiskey Business stamp set. And I like this stamp set because it kind of has some great images that my husband will like. He's a real old-fashioned drinker and often makes them himself. So I thought this would be perfect for him. And when I saw Astrid's card, I thought, okay, I'm going to see if I can do that. And but I kept putting it off because some of the instructions were a little bit vague and the language wasn't quite the same, of course. So it took me a little while to try to figure out measurements and how this was supposed to work. But I think I might have figured it out, and I'm going to show you the card. It is this one. So the magic about it is, watch. Ta-da! And then you close it, and then you open it. Ta-da! So I thought this was really cute and really fun. Now, I know not everybody, of course, is alcohol drinkers. So I was trying to think, well, what other sets do we have that might work? So I was looking through the catalog and I did find this one, Nothing is Better Than. And we have this sort of cocktail glass, which you could, sort of adapt and use maybe for iced tea or just lemonade or something. And we've got the coffee and teacups. So that's a possibility, I thought, that we could do with this technique, as well as perhaps this one. This is the Country Home Stamp Set. And I thought it might be kind of fun to try this maybe by coloring in the flowers or the milk can or the jug and just seeing how that kind of works. So I didn't have time to try these ones, but I might see what happens in the future if I can try that, and I'll let you know how they turn out. Okay, so for this card, now I've got some instructions written down, so forgive me if I'm kind of referring to some of them back and forth. I want to see if I can get this right. I have only tried this once. Okay, so to start, maybe I'll just leave our sample here so you can see it. Okay, so you're going to start with a piece. I chose Native Navy, and this was cut at 11 by 5.5, and then it was scored at 5.5. So this is actually going to be a larger base than we usually use, but that's okay. So I'm going to just set that aside for a sec. And then we're going to do this, this frame here, this mat. So you're going to choose a piece of designer series paper for that. So I chose, because of the colors in here, I kind of like the cinnamon cider look. This piece is from the Ice Cream Corner designer paper, and it's cut at 5 1/8 by 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. And then what you're going to do is trim out the center, leaving 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. So the way I did that was with my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to show you what I did. So I kind of measured it up at the 3/4 of an inch mark. So I'll just do it here just to sort of show you. So I lined it up at the 3/4 inch mark, and then I took a pen or a pencil and I just did like a line. And I actually did it on the reverse, I think. So here's the ice cream cone. You can see my lines here. And then I did this on all 4 sides. So I just lined it up at the 3/4 mark. I did a line and worked my way around. And then I went back and I lined it up again at that 3/4 mark, and then I took my trimming blade and I went and cut between the 2 lines. And then I turned it a 1/4 turn, did the same thing at 3/4, cut it up between the lines. So I did that all the way around, okay? And then if you're not quite cut out, you can just take your scissors and just sort of snip off that last little corner. And that's what your mat will look like. So then eventually with all the other pieces, it's gonna look like this on your base, okay? So we're gonna just set this aside for a minute. And I think what I'm gonna show you next is how we did these images to make them go like this. I just thought this is really fun. Okay, so what we're gonna use for that is our stamp apparatus. And we're gonna use 2 plates for this. So I hope you can see this here. I'll just put it up like this. Okay, so what I did is I cut out a piece of Whisper White or Basic White, and that was cut at 5 inches by 5 inches. And then I laid this on my stamp apparatus and I just drew a square around, so I knew exactly where I had to place this, okay? And then, so I knew it was straight, and then I put down my magnets, and then we're gonna stamp our images. So the 2 images I'm gonna use from this set are the decanter and the glass. So I'll grab those out of here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna start with is the glass. So what you're gonna do is just put your image wherever you would like to have it. So I think I'll put my glass about there. And then I took 1 plate and lifted that up, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink that up with our StazOn. We're going to use StazOn ink, and this is the jet black, and I just love the smell of this. It's just like almonds. It's wonderful. So I'm just going to put an extra stamp set underneath here just to avoid some bouncing. So you're going to ink up your image. Okay. Oops. Too many pieces going on here. Ink up your image, and then you're going to fold it over and press down. Okay, so there's our glass. Now, I also want to do this decanter, but I wanted it to look like the decanter was behind the glass, so we did a masking technique. So what I did was on a piece of like a sticky note, I restamped the glass image and cut it out. And we're just gonna put this right, I should maybe cut off this other end, but it's got some sticky adhesive, so I hope it's still gonna stick. We'll see what happens. Okay. So you're gonna mask this, put that right on your glass, and then with your decanter image, you're gonna lay it down whereabouts you would like it. So I think I want mine about here. Maybe a little bit lower. Okay, and then you're gonna pick that up with your other plate, all right? And then you're gonna ink up that image with your StazOn, with the black. Okay. And then we are going to stamp this down. Oops, sorry if the table is shaking here. Okay, so there is our decanter. And when I take this mask off, it'll look like the glass is partially in front, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some more stamping, but this time we're gonna do it on a window sheet, okay? So I've cut a window sheet. I believe it's 5 1/8 by 5 1/8. And you're gonna leave the white down, and you're gonna put your window sheet right on top, okay? Just right on top, and hold that down with your magnets. So now what we wanna do is restamp our images. So the first one that we're going to do is our glass, but this time, instead of the center there, I'm going to do another mask where we cover up just the inside of the glass, of the contents of the glass. We still have the outer lines showing, okay, like so. And then we're gonna ink up our glass image. I have not moved it, I've left it on the Stamparatus. And then we are going to turn that over and stamp down. Okay, so then very carefully, you're going to remove this mask and give that just a second to dry, because we're going to have to restamp our decanter as well. So we're going to have to mask this one more time. So using my original mask that I had, so hopefully this StazOn takes just a little bit to dry on these non-porous surfaces, and I don't want it to smudge. You probably could take a heat tool to it as well if you wanted. Okay, so I'm just going to gently put this on top again of our glass. And then I'm going to re-ink our decanter. And again, I have not moved it from where it was initially. Okay. And then you are going to stamp this again. Like so. Okay, so then we can take this mask off. I don't think it's smudged too badly. So what I wanted to try this time, where on our sample, I just did the one glass, I'm going to try to add another one. So let's see how this goes. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to clean my stamp, my glass stamp, just to start fresh so we don't have a lot of smudging or anything going on. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is take off my window sheet, and I'm just going to stamp on the white. Okay, so I'm going to line that up in my square again. Just make sure I've got it in the same spot. Okay, magnet that down, and then I'm going to ink up my glass image with the StazOn. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry, I have to redo that. I'm glad I didn't stamp this. You know why? Because I want to put this in a different place, so I have to move it. So that's another reason that we're cleaning this. Ooh, caught myself there. Okay, let's just clean this off. Make sure, peel that off. Just make sure it's fairly clean. Okay, so you're gonna clean your stamp, and then you're gonna position it where you want your second glass to go. So I'm going to put mine maybe right beside the decanter this time. I'm going to pick it up, and I didn't clean it quite so well, but hopefully it will stamp in the same spot. Okay, so now we're going to re-ink it, and we're going to re-stamp it. Like so. Okay, and now again we have to do some masking. So we're going to take that inside mask piece that I had earlier, the one that we're just going to hide the inside. Oops, here we go again. before I do that, I have to put my window sheet back on. Oh my gosh, see? It shows I've only done this one time, but I'm glad I'm catching myself. Okay, so you need to line this up exact. The window sheet and your glass pretty close to exact of where your initial stamping was. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit blurry, but I think that looks not too bad like that. Put down my magnets. Then I can put my mask on here just to cover the inside of the glass, like so. Then I'm going to re-ink my glass stamp and stamp on top. Okay. And then I'm going to remove our mask here. And then remove the window sheet. Okay, so now we're going to let this dry for a bit, okay? So I'm going to set those aside and then we'll go on to another step and then we'll come back to those. All right. Let's just put my stamp apparatus down. We aren't going to need that anymore. Okay, so then what we're going to do is work on this slider piece while that other part is drying. And I'm going to put my stays on away. Sorry, I just don't want to get my fingers or my hands accidentally in there. All right, so for the slider piece, we have a piece of white cardstock, and that is measured at 4 3/4 by 3 15/16. So I will put all these measurements on the post. I know that sounds a little off, but I'm just sort of going by Astrid's measurements here. And then we have a little piece of white, which is cut at 4 1/4 by 3/8. So what you're going to want to do is put this down with some adhesive, lining it up right at the bottom and leaving a little bit of an overhang on both sides. So I'm just going to take my regular adhesive. And you're going to try to line this up as best you can, leaving a little bit sticking out on each side because that's what's going to stop it from coming out of the card. And I know this is a little bit tricky to see and to do. It's hard to get just a little bit of an equal distance on each side, but just do what you can. It should work. Okay, so not perfect, but it's pretty close, I guess. This one's a little bit short, but we'll see how it goes. And then we've got that ready to go. I will add a pull tab a little bit later. So in the meantime, on the white image that you stamped, you're going to color in all of your images. So I did one ahead of time, and I colored them in with the cinnamon cider blends, the light and the dark, because I thought old-fashions, bourbons, that sort of thing are sort of that amber color. So you're going to color those on all three on the white piece, okay? And once your window sheet has dried, on the reverse, you're going to turn it over, and you're also going to color in just what's in the decanter. And I also used the blends for that. Now, I did one ahead of time as well, and it turned out like this. Now, you're going to have to give this a little bit of time to dry as well, the blends, because it is a window sheet and it looks a little bit wet. So just set it aside for a bit, and you're going to let that dry. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, let me just check my instructions here so I'm not running ahead of myself. Okay, before we do this, we have to do something with our white piece. So I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and what we're going to do along this top edge, you're going to put it in your trimmer, and we are going to score a little line here at, let me just see that I get this right. What did I cut that out? I believe it was 5/16 of an inch, which when you count on your trimmer, 5/16, so here are our 16ths. All these little ticks are a 16th. So 5 of those would be like 1 tick past a quarter. So I hope you can see that. So on this side, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 tick past a quarter is what I said, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 1 tick past a quarter, so right here. And that looks kind of wide. Hang on, I don't think that's right. Oh, sorry. Is that right? I'm sorry, I'm just rereading my notes here. Yeah, I think that's it, but that looks really large compared to what I had. I think I might have done that. I'm just looking at my old one here. 5/16, that seems pretty wide. I think it was only 3. Just hang on for 1 second. Sorry, technical issues here. It happens to all of us. I just want to just double check on another source here to make sure that I've got that right, because I'd hate to go to all the trouble and it not be right. So I'm just going to see if I can find her original instructions somewhere. I'm sorry, guys. I thought I had this all figured out, and I did. And then I think just because I'm trying to be so careful, I don't want to mess it up for you. So let me see. Yeah, 5/16. So I was right with 5/16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 1 over a quarter. So this is, oh, okay, I know what I was doing. This is the 1/2 inch mark. I should have been looking at this mark. So it's right here, the 1 over a quarter. That looks right. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna score that. Thanks for your patience, guys. Sorry about that. All right. So I've scored that, and you're going to fold it to the front. All right. Fold it to the front. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take a pen or a pencil, and you're going to mark off 3/8 inch from each side. So take my paper trimmer, or you can use grid paper. That works too. So 3/8, so those are the larger ones here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to line it up here on this end. Make sure it's fairly straight. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little pen mark here. And then I'm going to do it on this side as well. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 is about here. So I'll just do a little pin mark there. Okay, so then you're going to take your classic label punch, and we're going to punch a really thin slot, and that's where our slider is going to go through. So starting where you see your first tick, whoops, you're going to line your punch up, and you only want to leave like a millimeter, like it's going to be very, very small. So I'll do that, and then I'm going to line it up at the tick mark on the other side. And again, you just want to go really thin. Okay, and then any other one here that I've missed, you could take your punch, or you can just take your scissors and just trim off that little bit. And see, we have that little slot in there. And that's where we're going to insert our slider piece, okay? So that slider piece that we did earlier, where did it go? Here it is. This is what's going to slide up and should stop, okay, from going forward because of that piece we put down. So now what I wanted to do is I did, with some dies, cut out 2 circles from the Tasteful Label dies. If you have a punch, you could do that as well. And I want to put these here in the center because I want it to be like a little tab that we can use to pull up. Okay, so I'm just going to center this sort of here. And then I'm going to stick this one on the reverse. So we have one on each side. Okay, so I'll do that. So that will kind of help with our slide, right? Okay, so I'm going to leave this in here like so. And it's going to look like that. So now we need to go back to our window sheet and our designer paper. So the designer paper, I'm going to turn it in reverse, and I'm also going to reverse our width. See, this is how I want the front of it to look. So I'm going to reverse it, and we're going to stick this window sheet down on the designer paper. And I believe that is what I need to do. Let me just check my notes before I go too much further. Yes, so we're going to attach this just all around. Okay, so make sure that it's backwards. Your image is backwards, okay? Oh, got my fingers all sticky now. Okay, so we're going to line this up so our images are going to show here. Now this paper is very close in dimension to our DSP. It's like maybe a 1/2 inch or 1/8 of an inch difference. Okay, so there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some foam strips. Now these are cut from our foam sheets that we have in the mini. So all I did was I took a pair of scissors and I just cut 3 strips. So you're going to take all of them, and you're going to put them at the very edge of, I'm just going to turn this way, the very edge of this square. Okay, so we'll do one there, and we'll do one on the other side here, right at the edge. And then we'll do one along the bottom. Right down at the bottom. Okay, then you can peel off the other backing from this foam. And what you're going to do, bringing back your white, you are going to line this up exact as best you can with your white. So take your time because you don't want it to look blurry, which sometimes it looks blurry regardless, depending on your vision. Okay, so there. I'm just going to give that a light press. Okay, so now when you pull up your slider, ta-da, it worked. Amazing. Let's do that again. That's when it's closed. You're going to pull it up and voila, your glasses are instantly filled. Is that not just so amazing? All right, so the slider piece is working. So now what we can do is attach that onto our base. So I'm just going to use some regular adhesive here. My Stamp and Seal. And just give it a good coating because it's quite a thick piece here. Now just remember, don't put any on your slider, right? Because otherwise you won't be able to get it out. So I just went up here to the end, and you're just gonna lay this all down on your base square like so. Okay, just give it a little pop down, and let's see. Ta-da! It worked. There you go. So the last thing I want to do is add a greeting and a decoration. So I went ahead and from the stamp set, I stamped Cheers to You in Night of Navy, and then I cut that out using our rectangle stitched framelits. And I'm just going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I probably don't need one in the middle. Let's see. Okay. I'm just going to put this on at an angle here. So you could put it up here too. Maybe I'll try this. I'll just put it up here. And then I wanted to just put a greeting on the inside. So I took another piece of white and I cut it down to 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And then I used this stamp, sending you an old-fashioned birthday card. Stamped that in Night of Navy. And so I'm just going to put that down on the inside. And then you can add, you know, whatever little message you'd still like to add. Okay, so let's put this in here. So, and there you go. Just going to get this mess out of the way. So, 2 different versions. I'll just show them both here. One with 1 glass and one with 2. Magic pull up and magic pull up. Don't y'all love it? I think that is so fun. All right. So those are that is the project for today. Sorry for the delay in trying to get my measurements and everything figured out, but I wanted to be as accurate as I could. So leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think of this. I'm going to put these measurements on the post. And if you would like to try this or like any materials to make this card, please visit my website at christineludwig.stampinup.net. Don't forget, it's still celebration until the end of February. So with any $60 purchase, you can still earn a celebration item for free. And you can visit my online store, like I mentioned. So glad to have you join me today. And like I said, please leave me a comment below. I'd like to see what you think about this technique and this card. So have a great first week of February, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.